making Thursday, things we're making Thursday, yeah. Things we're making Thursday, things we're making Thursday, things we're making Thursday, yeah.
Hi, it's Heather from Strings and Threads. Welcome and thank you so much for being here. As you heard from the jingle, today is Things We're Making Thursday. The jingle explains it pretty well. I'll just say that it's a collab, a year-long collab that was started by a small group of us and has grown to be huge, and I'm so excited about that. We have a Facebook page that was made by Jenna from Jenna Stitches, and I think last I checked we were at almost 180 members, so that's really exciting. It's a great place to make yarny friendships and to see other people's works and kind of catch up on everything. And Jess from J Hook Magic and her husband were the ones that created the jingle, so you can thank them. Without further ado, this month's pattern was Gary the Giraffe, and I absolutely loved this pattern. I made a bunch of him, her, whatever. People were saying I should change the name for the girl, but I'm just gonna keep all of them as Gary's. We have, I work at a middle school, and we have several students who have changed their name to names of the other gender, so I'm not going to assume that any name would be one gender or the other. So I'll just be politically correct and they'll all be Gary's. But this was the first one I did. This one was made with Yarn Bee Cozy with a Twist. And this was one that I got 4 skeins of from the Hobby Lobby big sale that went on a few weeks back. So normally they're $6.99 a skein, but I got it for $1.87 a skein. So I picked up 4 of them. That was all they had left in the shop. I kind of got there right at the end of the sale, so I didn't get a whole bunch of stuff, but this was one of those I'm glad I got because I didn't know at the time that I was going to be making this, but once we said we were making this, I was like, oh good, I have just the right thing. And then Dollar Tree Chanel was what I used for the off colors. And one skein was not enough, of the brown was not enough to do the whole thing, so I had a skein of the white Chanel that I did for the hands. But I figure that's okay, you know. So this big one was the first one I did. I'll hold him up. Now his neck, I'm sorry, I'm not doing too well today. His neck is a little bit flimsy, like if you were to hold him in off positions, they would kind of tilt a little bit, but you know, it stays pretty well if he's just sitting and you're not messing with him. Crystal from Hook That Yarn, she had a genius idea, and I wish I would have known this before I made this Gary, but she took the paper towel, you know, the cardboard thing in the middle of the paper towel, and she put that in the neck before she stuffed it so the neck would be a lot stiffer. So go and check her out to see how that worked out for her. I'm sure she'll talk more about that today, because when she mentioned it last week, I don't think she had the head sewn on already. So she was just showing that she had it like that. And then this week, I haven't seen her video yet, but I'm sure it'll be up soon. If you're not subscribed to her, I just encourage you to subscribe to her because she has the best videos. I don't know, I think she has such a really, really neat sense of humor, and I really appreciate her videos. So this was the first one. So I finished that one almost right away. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to put him down. I have so much stuff in front of me. I don't have room to put him down in front of me. That I decided to make a second one, and I thought, how would Gary look if he was made with crochet thread? So here's how Gary would look if he was made with crochet thread. So I have a lot of crochet thread in my stash from when I used to use it a lot several years ago. And also I pick some up occasionally. I don't work with it as much, so I don't I don't, you know, go out and buy it too much unless I see a really good deal. But the Art of Recycle is a store around us that's a secondhand crafting store. And a lot of times you can get good deals on yarn there, but they always have crochet thread, and they always have it at a good deal because I'm guessing people, not a lot of people want to work with it. But this was what I used. You can see they're pretty skinny. These were either left over in my stash from when I used to do it more, or they were from the Art of Recycle. And this Gary is going to one of my friends. One of my friends wanted Gary, so he is going to go to her after the making of this video. So I'll put that Gary over there. Now, when I did the first Gary, I wasn't sure I'd have enough yarn because according to the pattern, I didn't have enough yards. And it turns out I did have enough yarn, and I even had a little bit left over. Out of the 4 skeins, this was all that I had left over. But I had in my mind, if I didn't have enough yarn, when I was making that Gary, I made all the pieces and then the body last. Because what I was going to do is if I didn't have enough yarn, wherever I left off on the body, I was going to stop and then use a different yarn and make it look like he was wearing a sweater. So the next week I thought, why don't I just make one wearing a sweater? And that's what I did. So this Gary is wearing a sweater. And again, I used more yarn from the Art of Recycle. This was a full skein that I got for $1. I don't know what it is because they never tell you what it is. But it's white with some green sparkles in it. And then the rest of the Gary is made with Premier Just yarn from Dollar Tree. And I had a bunch of these in my stash, so I didn't even go out and buy any. And the brown was the same way. It was just something I had in my stash. It was probably like Red Heart Super Saver Mainstay, one of those types. But this is how this Gary turned out. And then I decided that for last week, I wanted to try Gary in a dress. So here's this Gary. On the legs, I kind of used the shirt color to make it look like they were wearing shorts underneath the dress. And then I think last week I made a mistake. When I was saying I went up, I think I said I went up 16 stitches. I meant 16 rows. And then I made it was somewhere around 16 or 17, somewhere between 16 and 18 that I changed color for the waistband. So the waistband is part of the body. It's stuffed underneath. This isn't on top of anything. You can't pull that off. It's part of the body. And then once I got up this high, I switched color back to the shirt color. And then once I got up to here, I went in the back loop only and went back to the color that the skin was and finished the neck in the skin color. And then I used the front loop to make these little fringes. I did the same thing here with the hands. I went into, you start with the hands, and then when I went to the color for the shirt, I used the back loop only and finished the arm, and then I went into the front loop and did the fringes. So here's this Gary. And then I had high intentions of making 2 Garys this week because I knew I wanted, there were 2 other types of yarn that I wanted to try, but unfortunately I've just kind of had an overwhelming week, and sometimes that happens where unexpected things pop up that you have to do, and you know, sometimes you can just feel overwhelmed with things that are going on in life, and that's kind of how I felt this week. So I did only get 1 more Gary done. This was the one, these were the yarns I wanted to try, but I didn't. I don't think this is considered crochet thread, but this is very thin yarn. Maybe they do consider that crochet thread. I ordered this years and years ago on eBay. Somebody dyed it this color for me, and I used it when I used to make the Kelly doll dresses. I used this to make some like Halloween outfits or some fall dresses for the Kelly doll. I don't make those anymore, and that's a long story. I'll tell that another day. You guys don't need to hear that on this video. But I wanted to make a Gary with this one and then have this green with flecks in it, which I also got from the Art of Recycle as the off color, but I didn't have a chance to go to do that. But I did have two more colors that I had from the Art of Recycle that I did use. I had this, and this is thin. It's definitely yarn. It's not thread, but it's very thin. So I had this, which was unmarked, just a little, you know, if there was as much, I did use it to make a Gary, so it's not as full as it was, but I didn't have a lot of it. I just had whatever was here. And then I used this as the off color, which again is a yarn, but I don't know what it is. It's something I got from the Art of Recycle. It was just on a tube. And this is how that Gary turned out. This one does have a tail. The ones with the dresses and the one with the dress and the one with the sweater don't have a tail because of the clothing. But this one I just made as per the pattern. All of them were made exactly to the specifications of the pattern, but what changed was the size yarn and the size hook that I used. So that's what made the different sizes. So I like this one. This one is so cute. This week we get to announce next month's pattern. So next month is June already, which means we're halfway through the year, which is really hard to believe. I don't want to stop doing things we're making Thursday. I love it. But we originally said it would be a year-long collab, so we'll see what happens. But I can't believe we're halfway through it already. So next month is, I wanted to show you a picture, Lily Sugar and Cream Rainbow Hexagon Beach Bag. And there is not a name of a creator on there. I guess whoever worked for Lily Sugar and Cream made it and doesn't get credit for it. I don't really know how that works. But I think it's exciting to do a bag. I think that would be so fun. I've never done a bag like this before. I've only done one bag before, and that was Jess from J Hook Magics. She has a tutorial for doing a bag, and I made it at Christmas time and gave it to my niece, and my niece wears it every day from what I'm told, so she loves it. And I loved the colors that it called for. I usually like to try and switch things up, but I love the brightness of it. So not all the colors that I got were exact, but it is the colors of the rainbow. So I ordered this. You can order this on Amazon if you are interested, and it's every color of the rainbow. So this is what I'm going to use. I know I've been blabbing on a little bit, but I did end up doing one hexagon today. And just a quick story about that. Today was our kids at school, the school that I work for. It was they call it track day, but it's kind of like field day, fun day, that type of thing. Schools call them different things. They call them track day at our school. And my job today was that I was in charge of the kids who were in school suspension. Yay. But the nice thing was that it's quiet. I can sit there, I can crochet. So I had a chance. I worked a little bit on my shirt that I was working on for Wearable Wednesday, and I had a chance to sit down and look at the pattern. And I realized that I'm in big trouble when it comes to assembling it, because I am struggling with reading how to assemble it. It's saying, okay, crochet the motifs together as shown on the chart, noting each corner of bottom edge, one side of motif will be folded in half, which does that mean all of them are folded in half when you're doing this? And crochet together as shown on assembly diagram. I can't read. I'm literally looking right at the assembly diagram, but I don't know how to read it. So maybe somebody who's a little more experienced would be so kind to do a video tutorial of how to put it together. I don't know if that's allowed or not. I shouldn't say that in case it's like a copyright infringement, but if it's allowed and there's somebody who can do that, I would love that. But while I was sitting there, I did decide to work up one of the hexagons because I was curious how they would look. And so I only have one done. This is how it looks. And it says that you can sew an optional lining in there, but while I'm looking at this, I kind of think you're going to want to have a lining for this. I don't know that it's going to be, it's pretty holey. You know, you could see me through there. So I'm going to list Jess's tutorial for her bag down below, because at the end she shows you how to put a lining in and she's very good at it. And I remember thinking when I made this for my niece, made her bag for my niece, I kept thinking, I don't know how I'm gonna possibly get a liner, and I don't know how to sew. I don't use a sewing machine. She did it by hand, by the way, so you don't have to have a sewing machine. But I was like all kinds of worried about how to put the liner in, but her directions are so good and you can use it really on any bag. It wasn't specific to her bag. But like I said, I'll list her video down below in case you're interested. This week might be too early to sew the lining in, but I'm gonna keep that in my description so that you can refer to that if you were wanting to. So, you know, I am a little bit nervous about how to put all of these motifs, all of these, yeah, I think they're calling them motifs, all these motifs together, how to get them to be together. But I don't know. I might have to ask our Facebook group for some help. I hope everybody has a great week. Thank you for bearing with me through all my ramblings, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.